My name is Kathy Poupart. I'm presently the Parish Life Director for St. Patrick St. Anthony's Church in Chadwick, New York. But my story begins much earlier. It begins in my household, the household I grew up in Utica. My parents were Jim and Mary Rita Murphy Poupart, and I'm one of 7 children. It was a chaotic household. It was a household full of love and faith and challenges, like every household is. And I was that one kid that in the family that was really oriented towards God. It was clear to me that those were the things that were important to me as I was growing up. And in fact, I can remember my mom asking me what I wanted for my 10th birthday. And I said, I want a missile. She was taken aback and she was kind of concerned because she thought that I would answer differently. But God bless my mom, she got me the missile, but she also got me something else. And so my life went on. It was at MVCC, Mohawk Valley Community College, in the early 70s where I was a student. There was a movement that actually was nationally based. It wasn't organized. It was folks, young people, being drawn to God. And at the Newman Chapel on the campus, there were a number of students, friends of mine, who would gather together for prayer. But one of the things that was interesting is hearing them talk about their own prayer lives. They were talking about an intimate personal relationship with God. Now, as I said before, I've always had a lifelong orientation towards faith, but I had never really heard that it could be so intimate and so personal. And so in May of that year, I decided I was going to do something. What I was going to do was pray the rosary every day, and part of my request for that month-long rosary was that I would come to know Jesus in a more personal way. And so I went through the month of May, and there just wasn't really necessarily any change internally within me. But I can remember going to one of the prayer meetings, and it was very few people. In fact, there were only 2 other people there. One, a young woman who came for the first time, and we never saw her again, and a friend of mine who was used to leading the prayer meetings. What happened was, in the midst of this prayer, I just started to have this, it was almost as if there was electricity going through my body, and it was the moment where I knew what I knew about God's presence, God's personal, intimate love. That became the moment where my life changed radically. And I was also at a place in my life where I was trying to discern what direction to go in my life as far as career and studies. And I decided that I wanted to study theology. Long story short, it was at this moment that I found out about Lemoyne and their program with a bachelor's in religious studies, and I took it. And my life really hasn't been the same since. So in my life, God has drawn me into many different circumstances, and the jobs that I've had throughout my life have ranged from short order cook to professional Girl Scout to fund development director. And most recently, through the opportunity to take the diocesan pastoral leadership course, the bishop's office called me last spring and asked me if I would be willing to accept a position as parish life director. And it's in my role as parish life director at St. Patrick St. Anthony's Church that I'm even more able to live out that call, that vocation that God has given me. Through the wonderful people in that parish. It is a place where I'm able to blossom and to share who I am and what I am, and to draw others into God's reality, to encourage them to hear the call in their own voices, to hear the call in their own lives. And so it is through this experience, my lifelong experience, that I realize that God is always present, that He will call us at every moment in our life, that He is constantly calling. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to be in a place where I'm willing to do that. I'd love to say it's perfect, it's not. but God is always there. God is always present. So my name is Kathy Poupart, and that's my story.